Today is day 15 of Thanksgiving. I know I've missed a couple of days, but broken wheelchair and other issues have kept me from being able to get in front of the computer. But today I am so thankful to have a wheelchair that works and to be able to get out of the house again. Sometimes you just have to be thankful for the little things. Look, I'm out of the house again. Did you miss me? Let's talk about the biggest problem with being in a wheelchair. You will spend the rest of your life dependent on wheelchairs that run. I thought I had a bearing go out. I was hearing a loud pop, and so I called the wheelchair store, and they weren't going to be able to get me in anytime soon. Then I found out there was a sweet man here in my small town that takes old wheelchairs and fixes them up for people so that if insurance won't pay for it or they're having some kind of issues with insurance, it at least gives them a chair to get through. If you notice, and I'll see if I can get a better shot, I am not in my usual wheelchair. He came to get my chair. Well, I should back up and say I was stuck in the house for a couple of days. He came to get my chair to take it and fix it, and he brought me a different loaner chair, which I actually really like because this one's got great big tires and I can go any place. But he took my chair to his house to take it apart and see if he could get it fixed back up for me, put new bearings in. Then we discovered it was not the bearings. At some point, the case on the motor had cracked and it got water in it. And so the bearings and everything in it got rusty. And it was some key popping back and forth, something to do with the axle and the motor, and I don't really understand all of it. But what he thought was just going to be a day or so to get me my chair back has now been 5 days. And he called this morning and said probably going to be a couple more days. He asked if I would mind if he used parts, because he had another wheelchair there that he could scavenge parts off of to be able to get mine running. And I said, I don't care what you have to do to Frankenstein it back together. I just need to get through about 8 more months before insurance will buy me a new chair. So today is my first day since Monday, I guess, that I have been able to leave the house. And it feels so good to be mobile, to be outside and doing things again. The weather today is beautiful. This chair is a heavy-duty chair, which means I can go places that the other chair wouldn't go to. But you spend most of your life worrying about, I'm going to cross the street here in a second. Most of your life worrying about whether or not the chair is going to keep working properly. And the places that sell you the chairs, if you call them when your wheelchair breaks down, they actually have a recording that says, "This is an emergency, call 911. Well, what's 911 going to do? The fire department comes out and they look at it and they say, well, what do you want me to do about it? They could transport you to the hospital, but the hospital is not going to keep you there if it's just a wheelchair issue, if it's not anything wrong with you. So you're stuck, not being able to get to the bathroom or around the house. You're really at the mercy of the places that sell you the chair. So you really want to check the reputation of the company that you're dealing with before you buy it. You want to investigate any kind of references or reviews that people leave online, because not all companies are in it for the patients. A lot of them are just in it for the money. The last company that I went through, and I should say I have always, in 25 years, I've always had Jazzies. I love Pride Mobility and I love Jazzy wheelchairs. I very rarely have any issues that can be easily fixed with a Jazzy. The last company that I went through insisted that Medicare would not pay for a Jazzy for the chair that I wanted, and that my only option was, well, I won't name the company, but just trust me, if you're getting a chair, go with Pride Mobility and Jazzy. I had the chair for less than a year, and the frame snapped in two one day. I heard a loud pop, and the next thing I knew, the whole top part where the chair attaches and everything was coming off. Luckily, I was in my house, and so I was not injured. I just was stranded, and we had to call the fire department to come help me to be able to get back to my bed. And I called the company that I got the chair from right away. And they again told me it's an emergency, call 911. So they said they would send it over to the service department and they would get back to me as soon as they could. That was on a Tuesday. Thursday morning, when I still hadn't heard from anybody and was still stuck in my bed, I got distracted. Where was I? Someone stopped to ask me if I had a different wheelchair. So on Thursday morning, when I hadn't heard back from them, I called a different company and told them what I was dealing with. And within a couple of hours, they brought me a loaner chair. They were there and brought me a loaner chair and looked at my chair to see if there's anything they could do. And it turns out it was a faulty weld. So when they had experts look at it, the weld had been overheated, and so it weakened the metal around where the pieces were welded together. And all the experts that looked at it pretty much had the decision that even if they put it back together, it would happen again because of the way the wheelchair was built. And next time it might not be so good. It might come apart when I was out in, getting in and out of my van or out on the street. So they couldn't recommend that I use that wheelchair again. I talked to a lawyer, and the lawyer asked me if I was injured, if I had any medical bills or anything, and I said, well, no, luckily it happened at my house, so I didn't get hurt. And so they all told me that they couldn't help, that they would not file a lawsuit. The other company would not, the other wheelchair store that I got it from would not take it back and help me get a different chair to get a Jazzy. And so I was trying to find a lawyer that would allow us to sue them to be able to do something different. But no one would take the case, so I wasn't able to sue. The second store that didn't even sell me a wheelchair told me that I could keep the loaner chair indefinitely until I was eligible for another chair, which is every 5 years. They'll buy new chairs every 5 years. So, so I had 4 years to wait to be able to get a new chair. Now I'm down to 1 year left. I've got to run into this building and I will check back in just a little bit. Okay, I popped in and visited with some ladies while they were playing bingo. I I've been asked to be on an advisory board for regional area of senior citizen centers. So I was trying to touch base with them and see what kind of activities and interests that they would like to see going on at the senior center. I'm working on talking to a couple of churches to see if we can get a handicap accessible van, or not van, minibuses, to be able to take a group of seniors to go Christmas shopping and maybe go look at Christmas lights in the evening. We are ways away from the nearest mall. I think the nearest mall is about 45 minutes, and a lot of seniors don't want to drive that far. If they can drive at all, they don't want to drive that far on their own. And most don't drive after dark, so if we can get someone to drive a bus to go look at Christmas lights, then I can work on getting more seniors involved. Most of the rural area senior centers are on a decline as far as the number of people coming and using the centers. So I have a personal goal of getting it built back up to about 30. Right now they're at 8. So we're trying to come up with activities that would encourage people to get out of their house and come for the social time. Because really it's not about having free meals or even really the activities. It's about social interaction. That's what keeps you mentally sharp and even physically maintaining, even if you're not declining. If you sit home and you feel sorry for yourself and you're in your house every day, all day by yourself, people tend to go downhill quicker. Whereas if they have a reason to get up and get dressed and get out, it gives them more motivation and a better attitude about life. So if you know anybody who's in their home all the time, who's not going and doing things, check on them every now and then. Try and find some reason to take them out to lunch or to go do something that would give them a reason to get dressed up and put a little makeup on. Well, unless it's guys. Don't encourage guys to put the makeup on. So I'm heading back home now, and I'm going to babysit my youngest grandson while my daughter takes the middle one to the ENT. And I'm going to throw some stew in the crock pot for dinner tonight. So I hope you're having a great day. I'm just so happy to be out and doing things again. So I will check back in with you tomorrow. Bye-bye.